Before we dive into today's conversation, I'd like to introduce my next guest, Maud Rabin. Maud is the director for Rare Champagne, one of Champagne's most distinctive and exclusive maisons. The story of Rare begins in 1785 when Marie Antoinette commissioned a cuvée for the French royal court. That spirit of rarity and refinement continues to define the maison's philosophy today. Produced only in exceptional vintages, Rare Champagne is unapologetically different. While it shares historical roots with Piper-Heidsieck, Rare has forged its own identity through an uncompromising vintage philosophy and a signature style that is immediately recognisable. Remarkable freshness and longevity, layered texture, and a fascinating aromatic profile that often reveals exotic and tropical fruit notes alongside delicate floral, saline, and chalky nuances. These are champagnes built not simply to impress on release, but to evolve beautifully over decades. In her role, Maud shares the story of Rare Champagne with audiences around the world, communicating the maison's philosophy of patience, precision, and the extraordinary. So Maud, wonderful to have you with us today. Thank you so much for your time. So long considered the prestige cuvée of Piper-Heidsieck, Rare Champagne has been a brand in its own right since around 2018. So the owners separated the cellar masters, entrusting the celebrated Regis Camus with Rare and also Emilien Boutier taking over the role of Piper-Heidsieck cellar master. So additionally, you were appointed director of the house, which must have been really exciting and such a privilege for you. So can you explain how Rare is separate to Piper-Heidsieck and the stylistic difference between the two?
First of all, thank you so much, Sarah. It's a pleasure, to welcome you. It's been a long time, so I was so happy, to be with you today.
Merci.
I was hired for this mission, typically in 2018, when the Christopher Descours decided, to separate Rare Champagne from Piper-Heidsieck because he was telling the team that there is a history, dedicated to Piper with the style of the wine, with the range, with price positioning, etc. And like kind of an ovni of Rare Champagne. The bottle is completely different. The style is proper, to Rare Champagne. The bottle is patented. The history is a little bit different, even if, they have the same roots. And the price positioning was completely, in opposite. So it's if we consider the luxury brands and how they work in the house, we should have 2, even 3 brands in the company. So Piper-Heidsieck, Heidsieck, and Rare Champagne. And we can have the same client at the end of the day. The private collector loves to purchase, Piper, Charles, or Rare for different moments, reasons, etc. So they asked me to join the company. And I knew the champagne because I was at Rémy Cointreau before, and the champagne belonged to Rémy Cointreau before. So I knew Regis Camus. And the first thing I did was a meeting with Regis, and we spent 3 hours together to say, what would you think we should do? And we arrived with the exact same plan. And the first thing we had to do was to recreate the puzzle because it was a little bit with holes, if I may, So I wanted to have an appointment with the family, the Marquis d'Hollande, who really launched Rare Champagne at Versailles Palace to understand the reason, the true history, the archives, and etc. And then, at the same time, visiting, the different critics, journalists, people that Regis Camus knew. From the beginning, he was really, supporter of Rare Champagne, and it's what we did. So we traveled to London, New York, Tokyo, Hong Kong, Milano as well, to explain to the people, who were following Regis Camus, the decision, and everybody said, this is normal thing, it's meant to be. So that's why the decision was made, because it was super well received day one. So now we know it takes time. We didn't build Roma in 2 days. This is a French expression. There's the same thing, So the magic of the thing is I had the chance to meet with the Marquis d'Hollande for 3 hours, and I had my questions. And he told me the whole history. So even if, we are really linked to Piper-Heidsieck, it's not, we are still close to Piper-Heidsieck, and we be always close to Piper-Heidsieck because at the beginning, Florent Louis Heidsieck, the founder of Piper-Heidsieck, wanted to become the richest man in Europe. I didn't have this in mind, So the champagne was only at the royal court. So he had to convince one person to make his dream coming true. The Queen, Marie Antoinette. So what he did, he made some investigations about what the queen loved and did not love. And he made some researches and he discovered that the queen was in love with tropical fruits and the pineapple typically. Because pineapple arrived in France in 1730. So it was only at the royal court as well. It was too expensive.
Yeah, exotic.
So, exotic. Voilà. So, and she was in love with Chinese English gardens. She has, beautiful space and area for the tropical fruits. So he decided to create like a blending of tropical notes brioche. And he had an audience with the queen on May 6, 1785. So it was a really specific blending, very expensive at that time to make already. But his dream was to convince her this way and make, the Piper-Heidsieck arriving in the royal court. It's exactly what happened. She has chosen the champagne. She said, it's exactly what we love. Yeah. And the first order was 3,000 bottles and shipped 3,000 bottles of Piper-Heidsieck. And that's how Piper-Heidsieck arrived at the royal court of France, Austria, Spain, Netherlands, Belgium, because she was influencing the whole Europe. And he has this dream. I said, this will be for later because it's not the focus for now. And the 2 generations after decided to ask Pierre Fabergé to make a beautiful drawing. They made a patent of the bottle of Rare Champagne. Yes. So the decision was made to have a prestigious cuvée. But it's only the 6th generation, the Marquis de Lan, who discovered all the things. The car, who took Florent Heidsieck to the appointment with the Queen Marie Antoinette in May 6, 1785. The blending with tropical fruits. So he briefed his cellar master in 1975 to be able to create the first one dedicated to Rare Champagne in 1976. And he told me, Maud, to pay tribute to my grandfather, I wanted to create the prestigious cuvée, the most expensive and the most beautiful one. Yeah. And I decided to launch it at Versailles as a tribute to the Queen Marie Antoinette. And we are the only one brand, Sarah, born at Versailles. And this I know from the CEO of Château de Versailles, who is the Minister of Culture, Catherine Pégard. Yeah. She called me, it was 5 years ago now. She called me one day and said, I absolutely want to see you because I discovered in the archives the launch of Rare Champagne. We want to talk about the launch in our book for the 400th anniversary of Versailles Palace. We don't ask you money or anything. We just ask you if you agree on that. I say, Sarah, for me, it was incredible. It was like extraordinary. It is. Bah oui. Yeah. And Catherine Pégard told me that you are the only one brand house born at Versailles Palace. There is no other. You can use Versailles Palace. You can tell it, in our history and etc. It's just incredible. Even me, I'm amazed by this. Yeah. And that's why, when we have made this decision, it was like, all the windows were open, Sarah. The Monuments Nationaux, they called me, Maud, we're going to have, the most beautiful exhibition dedicated to the Queen ever in 2019. We would like to have Rare Champagne in the middle of the exhibition. We know that you have a beautiful bottle made with Mellerio. And Mellerio was one of the beautiful, supplier of high jewelry at the Royal Court of France. They said, okay, would you like to say okay as well? I said, of course I will. I am rebuilding the archives of the brand while we are selling it all over the world. Truly, the thing is, it's thanks to Rare Champagne that Piper-Heidsieck exists at the Royal Court of France in the 18th century. It's not the contrary. It's the exact opposite. Huh? So thanks to Rare Champagne, we are here today, Sarah. And thanks to the Queen Marie Antoinette, because without her, there is no, the possibility and the capacity to create such a beautiful, blend. And the Marquis de Lan was telling me, Madame Rabin, when we have an appointment, an audience with the Queen, you don't present something so-so. Huh? You present something extraordinary. Yeah, the most extraordinary thing, you can even imagine to get. Yes. So that's why, behind the philosophy of Rare Champagne, there is the mention and the notion of scarcity, rarity, but extraordinary.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really fascinating history that a lot of people don't realise. And it's a beautiful history too. And really the bottle, the design of the bottle for people who are listening and they may not have seen the bottle is just extraordinary. And it really does look like it's been made for royalty. It's quite a unique design. And I like that people like to play around with the tiara, so to speak, and have a bit of fun with that one as well. So I just wanted to talk about what you just mentioned before about how she really enjoyed more of that tropical aspect of the aroma, but also texture. Texture is really important, I think, to rare champagne, and it's one of the key things that separates it from Piper. So do you want to say a few words around the stylistic difference, like what you were tasting different in rare champagne versus the Piper style? Yeah.
Alors, to make a long story short and to be sharp, honestly, Piper is Pinot Noir, the house of Pinot Noir. They are really, talented on that. Rare Champagne, it's Chardonnay. It's the exact opposite, but Chardonnay sourcing in the kingdom of Pinot Noir. And this is very interesting because we are the only one Chardonnay-driven prestigious cuvée in the world. There is no other. It's a half-half for other, houses, or it's more Pinot, or it's Pinot Meunier, Chardonnay. Rare Champagne is Chardonnay-driven, and it's 85% of Grand Cru, 15% of Premier Cru. So there is no Meunier inside. It's only Grand Cru, Premier Cru, and Time, which is a third cépage, if I may.
Yes.
So, voilà, the difference between both, it's clear, Pinot Noir or Chardonnay. And we are Chardonnay.
Yeah. So you mentioned time before. So rare champagne does have extended lees aging, so extended time in the cellar. So how is that manifesting? What are you looking for when you lay it down in the cellar for those extra years? What sort of profile is it developing that you really like to see in rare champagne?
But the notion of brioche and the little notes of cocoa or vanilla that she was in love with. And this doesn't come, at the beginning. Even, during a tasting, you will have the kiwi, the pineapple, the jasmine note, the orange blossom notes in the brut. But the coconut, the vanilla are spicy notes that we'll have after the second or third glass. And it will be, amazing after 15 years on lees, or even if you keep your bottle of rare champagne, yourself in your cellar for 10 years, you will have the coconut and vanilla first in your first glass. So this is not of honey brioche that we love at Rare Champagne. It only comes with the time on lees. Right.
And so is there a particular vintage that you've tried from Rare Champagne that you think really captures the essence of what you're trying to achieve? Is there some really standout champagnes that you've experienced that you think, wow, this is so beautiful, this is so rare?
Alors, Régis Camus and Emilien Boutillard would tell you are the 2002. It's the most iconic, and the second most iconic will be the 2012.
Yeah.
Because the 12, which is the current vintage, it's the exact DNA than the 2002. So the 2012 in 20 years will be the 2002 that you can experience today.
Yeah.
They have the same DNA, same profile of aromatics. Yeah, and this is very interesting. But there is another one, which is a 2008, which is also, but in a different way. Yeah, in a different way, because the most iconic would be the 2002 and then the 2012, definitely.
Both amazing vintages. So rare rosé, because you have a rosé incarnation as well, has achieved a bit of a mythical status because it appears so infrequently. We don't see a lot of it around. So what has to happen in a year for you to be able to make a rare rosé champagne?
Very good question. Alors, at Rare Champagne, we ask the cellar master to be free. So the freedom is absolutely, complete in a way that they can decide if they will do a vintage this year, if they will do brut and rosé, if they will do only brut, if they will create some Magnum, Jéroboam or Methuselah. Their decision. And then I arrange myself after, to create the plan. So there is no specific reason of doing every time, they do a brut, a rosé. Because, for example, the rosé 2014 exists only in rosé. There is no brut vintage in 2014. It's only rosé. And the next one won't be, the year after. Huh? But the thing is, absolutely want to have, the notes and the aromas of rose and little spice given by the violet. And this is very hard to get. So the moment you don't have the rose, the peony, and the little spicy note of violet, and this red fruit, cherry blossom aromas, they won't do it. And the color as well is very, very key, because the color of creating a rosé is very hard. And Xavier Tuizat will tell you the same. The most difficult part is to create a rosé because The rosé, you can be always worried of, what will be the color of the rosé in 10 years? Because if it becomes orange or onion, oh la la, catastrophe. So they have to think a decade ahead to say, in a decade, the color won't change. And this is thanks to, the red colored wine that we add in the blending. And for the Rosé 14, it's 18%, which is a lot.
18.
And they use the village of Lyrissay. Why? Because Lyrissay is in Champagne, but it's close to Burgundy. So the sun is more preeminent and the soil gives you more tannin. And so the color will be more profound, more intense. And it's important to get this because at the beginning, Régis Camus, who was the first creating, the rosé, the first vintage was 2007, he had in mind to create a sparkling Burgundy. Voilà. So the sparkling Burgundy is the brief he had in his own heart and spirit. And to respect this, it's very hard, and you are not able to create a vintage rare rosé every year.
Yeah.
The combination of the three have to be, a perfect harmony.
And it keeps it more exclusive as well, which is not a bad thing.
Oui.
I just want to touch a little bit on this idea of climate change. We're currently in Champagne. We're going through an incredible heat wave at the moment. So the heat is not going away. And, there are other sort of complicating factors around how the climate is moving here in Champagne. So Rare sits on the spectrum of, that more generous, opulent, rich profile, textured, exotic fruits. Do you foresee any challenges going forward? Because obviously the profile of the fruit that you're getting from the vineyard is going to be presenting with more natural sugars and richness anyway. So do you think that the style of Rare is going to evolve, or are you doing things to try and ensure that the fruit profile doesn't go too far?
Now, what we want is to keep, the signature and the style. So what maybe, they might have to face with is considering other villages. Because for the moment, the magic recipe, 70% Chardonnay, 30% Pinot Noir, between 9 and 11 villages to create Rare Champagne. But within, the 9 and 11, we might be able to open, new considerations of new villages because the climate change make the map of Champagne normally, changing a little bit. And same for Bordeaux, same for Burgundy, same for everyone. So this is a question, they are always asking themselves. But for the moment, still the same.
Still okay for now.
Still okay. Yeah. And the climate change is, it's not an enemy at all for Champagne because the grapes, they love that kind of climate as well. So you have a rich Champagne. It's either, to create Rare Champagne when we have a beautiful year like we had, in 2022, voilà. But the thing is, no, it's all about balance. And that's why, Emilien told me one day, Maud, for the moment we are Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, but if the climate, is still the same in 10 years, we will have to consider Meunier. Because, where they are, the villages, the grapes, as you said.
It might be better for the Champagne.
Voilà. So for the moment, it's not the case because it doesn't work this way. At all the blind, tasting that we have every day at 11 a.m., still the same combination for Rare Champagne. But we are opened.
Yeah.
And what is important is that the team is really, respectful about Mother Nature. We create a beautiful ecosystem with bees, with kind of varieties of flowers, etc. Yeah. So they know exactly, how it will be and how it will go, the direction and the trend. So for the moment, we are not worried at all. But it can change. We are not stick.
Yeah.
And we are free.
Yeah.
So the freedom make that. The most important for the owner of the company, Christopher Descours, is the quality. Quantity is not an option, Quality, there is no option. We have to respect the quality. And that's why Emilien decided to launch the 2013 before the 12. Nobody did that in Champagne. 2022, you launched the 12. 2023, you launched the 13. No. We launched the 2013 end of 2022. And we are just launching the 2012 as we speak now. And we are in 2026.
Yes.
But because the 2012, we are not ready. So Emilien said, no, it's impossible. We need to wait.
It's time once again.
It's exactement time.
So I want to get on to a little bit of a different discussion around the link really between beautiful prestige cuvée like Rare and the luxury market, because obviously we're talking about something that's higher end, more expensive, and you do some beautiful events that I've seen on social media and other things, and I've been lucky enough to attend them myself. So you are, an expert in understanding these particular markets. So how important is it for you in creating these experiences to link emotion to the experience as opposed to just a technical approach, a technical understanding?
Yeah. Alors, when you are in the luxury universe, you have to respect codes. And the first code is the respect with a R capital. So respect of Mother Nature, respect of people who are creating the wine, and respect of the consumer and the private collector, the client, and everything. So when you have this in mind, but we are not robot. We are kind of animal with a big heart as well, with a conscious. So we need to live. What is very important is to live the experience, the wine. The wine is living, is alive in a glass. The wine is alive in the bottle. That's why, for example, sometimes you open a bottle, maybe I'm going to decant it, because you need more,
you
oxygen.
need more.
Voilà, so when you have this in mind, it's important to add emotion, passion, history, authenticity to the pure technique. But technique is very important, but it's not enough for me. What, people love, they can buy everything they want, actually. Even, if you don't have a lot of money, you keep some to be able to purchase, the bag you wanted, the house you wanted, the blah, blah, blah. Your dream, to make your dream coming true. But the thing is, what is important is to achieve your own dreams, and it won't be material that you will, forget in your memory. It will be the moment.
Yeah.
It will be the color of the sky one day.
Yeah.
The aromas of something, of an ice cream when you were young. The pastry of your grandmother, the scent when you arrived in a grandmother's house. It's all this, who build your memory and build who you are. It's not technique. So technique is important because you have to respect constraint and everything, but it's not enough. Régis Camus was not creating vintages with technique. D'ailleurs, there is no notes of Régis. Régis is all by, inspiration, feeling, and we got 99 on the Magnum of 08, 3 times awarded best wine in the world.
Yes, incredible.
Technique is absolutely not enough, but in every universe. Even the car. Porsche, Ferrari, even the small, Clio, or la Renault 5. It's, I was discussing, with someone, from Renault. It's a big success. But why? Because the generation who is buying the kids or the mother who had this car and the colors. So they play on the emotion that they have
connection
25 years ago.
Very smart.
But we need to do the same with everything we have, Same for Piper, same for Charles, and for our champagne, same. And it's not question of being, in a luxury atmosphere. We can be in the desert, Sarah. Believe me, we open in the desert with nothing, with no one, just the two of us, a bottle of red champagne.
Incredible experience. Yeah.
We were so lucky.
Yeah.
It's all about gratitude.
Yeah, it is. And I really think too that you can pair champagne with anything. It doesn't have to be a pairing with food. It can be paired with music, atmosphere, inside, outside, all kinds of things. Again, it's about having that incredible moment in time that lasts with you forever. So is there one particular experience that you've had, all of those things considered, that you think, wow, this is just such a magical moment?
I would say in Asia, it's very, typical, because in Japan or South Korea, they're so attentive to details.
Yes.
That this is magic, because one day, the memory I will still have, at 80 or 90 years old, if I am still on Earth, will be that moment I am the first dinner for rare champagne with someone from my team. She invited me at the Bulgaria Hotel. We had a glass of rare rosé 2007. I will remember forever. And the chef arrived with one piece of chocolate. But one. Sarah, 1 centimeter, a square of 1 centimeter on 1 centimeter. And I was, oh my God, I don't have the codes for this. what's going to happen because I'm French. We eat, the piece at one point in once, I said,
Yeah.
So I was expecting, my team to say, to start. And she was telling me, start. I said, I don't know how to do it. So I took my, my knife
Right.
and I did well.
Okay.
Because the square of 1 centimeter on 1 centimeter had to be cut in 4.
Ah, okay.
And it was just a question of chocolate with rare champagne. And it was that moment that you have one piece of something, which is a mini piece, but it's Versailles in your plate.
Yeah.
It was Versailles Palace. Because the aromas of this cacao, blah, blah, blah. The chef came to explain and I said, wow. But this attention to detail has to be everywhere.
Yeah.
For rare champagne, from the beginning to the moment that you open the bottle. And it can be, abundance or profusion of things, but it can be one piece of chocolate of 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter, and you will have the best moment in your life.
Elevated experience.
Exactly.
Wow. Such tiny granular detail like that. It can really change everything. That's extraordinary.
Ouais.
So can you tell us maybe a little bit more about the future of rare champagne? Is there special projects? Is there something that you're really excited about that's coming in the next few years?
Oh, yeah. We have the freedom to do what we want. And we have a new one which will arrive, in the coming months, is we are preparing like a sleeve on top of the gift box we have today, which will represent the extraordinary garden of rare champagne.
Oh.
And Sarah, believe me or not, but I'm sure you will say, oh my goodness, this is so beautiful. And this doesn't exist in the wine industry. You launch a vintage and you have a limited edition with an artist and the packaging and The fact to add a new packaging, which can be completely different for the same vintage, but different, doesn't exist, They are really, codified. One vintage, one limited edition, and one artist. Here, the artist is the team of Rare Champagne.
Oh.
So we don't take another...
like a designer or anything?
No, the designer is... he has been working with us since day one. And it will be absolute magic moment because the designer we have chosen, which is part of the family Rare, creates the kind of new concept for Rare Champagne. So we will develop a limited packaging, if I may, respecting the vintage or the Rare Champagne vintages, because this packaging can be packed for 2012, but can be packed for the 2013 or the Rosé 14.
Yeah.
Voilà. And this is what we love at Rare Champagne. It's to be playful as well. And we also are working on how to release the old vintages because we don't have a lot. And every day I receive an email from someone in different market. Can we have access to 1988? Can we have access to 2002? And we cannot. So we have decided with Emilien, considering, the library we have of the old vintages, to be able to release up maybe 10, maybe 100 of this vintage in 2028, in 2030. Voilà. So we have different projects which are cooking, another one as well, but it won't be ready before 2032. So we need to wait at Rare Champagne, and in the meantime we prepare, but maybe in 10 years we will think differently. So this project will never,
it evolves.
So...
Well, I'm sure that the collectors listening today are really excited to see that evolution and some of the limited releases as well that's coming forward, which I'm sure are going to be as beautiful as the bottles currently are. So it's been fantastic getting to spend a little bit more time with you. It's been a while. And thank you so much for your insights. And I think you've got a really beautiful way of talking about rare champagne, because I can see it comes from a place of true appreciation, and you can see the artistry and the beauty that's behind the brand.
Merci.
So thank you, Maud, so much for your time.
Merci,
and we'll see you again soon.
Oh, yeah. With pleasure. Let's have a drink.
Vine & Bubble is a boutique and independent information source dedicated exclusively to telling the real story of champagne. It was launched by me, Sarah Underdown, in November 2018 after almost a decade of working in the champagne industry as a recognised writer, educator and presenter. Vine & Bubble brings together a network of Australian wine journalists, sommeliers, educators and industry representatives as regular contributors. As a team of champagne lovers and communicators, we are thrilled to share our united passion with wine-loving audiences. To read more about champagne, to subscribe to events in Australia and learn more about opportunities to join us for experiences in champagne, visit vineandbubble.com and register your details.